Evening, everyone. My name's Amir, and I'm a Muslim. In fact, it's not just me. My father's a Muslim. My mum's one. My grandparents were very much into it. Apparently the trouble all started with my great-grandparents, who were known to be very much into experimentation. My parents sent me to a Roman Catholic school, and at register, the teacher was horrified to learn that I didn't have a Christian name, so she called me Steve. As a Muslim, I cannot eat pork, and my father told me this. He took me to one side and said, "Son, never eat a sausage." I was perplexed by this revelation, and so I gazed up at him with my eyes filled with curiosity, and I asked, "What's a sausage?" This prompted my mother to get out the sausage picture from upstairs, which she retained purely for educational purposes. After committing to memory the very size, shape, girth, and essence of what a sausage is, as well as enduring a half-hour hand puppet show from my father, which starred Good Boy Omar and the Naughty Frankfurter, I had got the message. Many have commented that my parents went too far. I was so terrified, I stopped holding onto the brown handlebars of my bicycle, despite the fact I lived on a hill with a winding road. I avoided using the dark brown magic marker in my pencil case, even though when it came to do my Draw Your Hero for School project, I gave Gandhi a pink face. And most tragically, every day and every night for a year, I wore mittens on my hands after the teacher said my chubby fingers were like little chipolatas. A couple of years passed and my parents sent me to public school. This was a highly educational experience for me. Not only did I have access to resources such as teachers, but they also made me shower with other boys naked. This is where I learned another important difference between myself and other boys down below. Whereas they seemed to have something that I could describe as being akin to a pale-skinned olive that had ripened and had its inner seed protruding outwards, I was left with something that was more like a skinny teenager wearing a crash helmet. Over the coming months, I decided to observe my peers very, very closely. And one day, I happened upon the conclusion that there must be some sort of hidden sleeve somewhere, which, to my own embarrassment, I had not yet found or released. In fact, to this very day, I still can't find the damn thing, and this is all well and good in the summer, when it's humid, and I can enjoy the convertible-like comforts of driving with my top down, but I can only imagine that in the winter, ooh, the extra layer would come in handy. A couple years later, and at the tender age of 14, I started having sexual education classes. Although I found these to be mildly thrilling, I also found them lacking. Whenever the subject of contraception was breached, we were told to wear a condom if we wanted to avoid sexually transmitted diseases like syphilis, or the worst one of them all, children. What my educators failed to do is inform us that contraception, like all other things in modern day society, have been greatly affected by commercialism and image. These are the lessons I have learned outside the classroom. With my parents away, and as a young adolescent, I bought my first condoms. I popped down to my local Waitrose, and there, deep in the back, beside the man-sized tissues, were the condoms. Like a child in a confectionery store, I reached for the prettiest-looking box, grabbing a pack of Trojans. Although I couldn't try them on for size, apparently that's not acceptable in Waitrose, I did eventually settle for holding a pack in my hand, putting it in my pocket, and walking up and down the ladies' bathroom accessories aisle, showing it to the women who walked past. Metaphorically, it just did not fit. I held the pack in my hand and it felt unnatural. I put it in my pocket and did my walk up and down the ladies' bathroom accessories aisle. It felt uncomfortable. I showed it to a mature lady who walked past. I got looks of disapproval. I imagined Trojans were the kind of condoms that real manly men wore, and for some reason it just didn't seem to suit. The name Trojan as well conjured up images from the film Troy, and as I held the pack in my hand, all I could see were Brad Pitt and Orlando Bloom, dressed in leather, getting hot and sweaty under the sun of Asia Minor. This would not do, so I put the pack of Trojans back on the shelf. I let my hand wander downwards, picking up the next brand, Mates. Mates was established by Sir Richard Branson, who wanted a more light-hearted and informal approach to condoms. What the billionaire Sir Richard has probably never encountered is that with a girl, the term mates is never usually that promising. In fact, as I held the pack in my hand, I had flashbacks to the many occasions where I had lusted after beautiful women, and at the end of the night, with her arms around me, they'd whisper gently in my ear, "You're such a good mate." This would not do. I wanted a brand that was more promising, more positive, more optimistic. So I put the pack of mates back on the shelf. But, on further reflection, I did take one. On the thinking that if things did progress well with this girl, and further down the line she became a bit too clingy, I might need a subtle but sexy way of telling her that we should be friends.